Well, isn't that unfortunate? You bought a Ford van and the cables have come loose on your door handles. Just take the inside panel off. The cable has to be mounted on that metal bracket right there in order for the ball to actually do its job. So that's what opens the latch. This one, somebody drilled a hole in here because they've had plenty of Ford vans in the past, and they knew that if you just pulled on that little lever right there, then it would unlock the door. So that's what they did, and that, hey, that's great, because if you don't do that, you're not getting the door unlocked. But the outside latch is that cable on top. That cable right there, when it breaks off, then the outside door latch won't work. But on these door latches, which we took ours out, the way you get that out is there are these pop rivets. You take a punch and you punch that out, and what that'll do is it'll remove that rivet right there, the gold part. Then you have to take those ears and fold them all up so that that'll go out, but that gold part has to come out. The only way you can do that, again, is by putting a punch right there and punching that through to the inside. Once that's out of the way, then you can bend the ears down. So this is what those three ears look like when you bend them straight up. This right here, we just were able to break off all three of those ears. This one of the ears broke off and the other two bent straight up, so the handle was able to come off. We tried drilling them out. That didn't work because they spin when you're drilling. That's how you do a normal pop rivet. The original holes are 9/32. The new handles are 1/4 inch. So these replacement ones are a little better than the originals. Well, because you can drop them like that. This right here is supposed to stay stationary. It's supposed to hold the cable, the outside of the cable, while the inside of the cable does the actual moving. You'll notice that moves. But what happens on the original design is that tab right there is not in the same place as this redesigned one, and it breaks off. So this part is not supposed to move, but it does on the originals because their tab was on the end. And once it breaks off and once it's gone, the outside cable is no longer held in place while the inner cable does its job. It's easier to take off these 3 bolts and take this latch out to get that upper cable, which you can't see because all vans don't have this access hole. But you should be able to reach up through here, but you got to know what you're feeling for in order to do it blind. When you do that, you've got to unscrew this lock. You've got to undo that. You've got to pull this slide off. And there are 2 tabs, one of them broke off, hence the zippy tie. But the top one broke off, that slides out that way, but you got to push those 2 tabs up and in. When you buy these replacement cables, because one was missing in this door, don't get the one with the plastic ends. Get the ones with the metal ends. They cost a little bit more, but you won't be disappointed. To get this new latch in, you slide it in like that, and then you open the latch, and it'll slide past that. And you put in your pop rivets, or you could get 1/4 inch bolts, but just get the ones with the splined shafts. And then it'd be kind of hard, but you could put nuts on right there, spin them on by hand, and then tighten them up. I've got pop rivets, so I'm going to use pop rivets. Kapow! Kapowzy! Gotta get that ball in that slot. And then click this in place. Right there. Click. Now everything should work. So you got to take the backing of the door off. Once you do that, you've got to locate both of these cables and you've got to pull on them. So there'd be one that goes down to the bottom, but I've already taken it out. It's laying right here. And you got to pull on both of them at the same time in order to open the door. So just pull straight down, because that other plastic end is going to be broken on the top anyway. So the cable will stay plugged into there. If the cable breaks, hey, you're on your own. So to get the old one out, you just push up on this white tab. And that'll slide out. Yeehaw. So to get it back in, put the cable in, hook it up to the other side, and then slide that white tab over. You get that cable, there's a little slit that you slide the cable in, and then the ball fits just like a bicycle cable. The round ones look like this, and they push right into a spot like that. So you just squeeze them and push them into a spot like that. It's a tight fit, so it won't jiggle loose. Whenever it's head on like this, you've got to have the squared off ones. So here's the difference. One's completely round, and the other one's got a square offset. The square offset goes in these door latches, which would be down here at the bottom of this door and up here at the top of this door. So we had to take this latch off the bottom of that door. You don't have to take the cable out. You just have to take your wire cutters, because it's just cheap plastic. And I'm not cutting the black cable. But you saw that. That's garbage. Sometimes you have to scrape this down to make it easier for the piece to go on. Now these have to have this end. The ones that go to the latches normally have this rounded end. And the Dorman handle, the Dorman kit comes with one of these and 3 of these in each pack. So for a cargo door like this, you would have to have 2 packs, because you got to have 2 of these. So you slide it on like this, push it back on that, and if you take these and rub them down, it's easier to get them on there. But that's how you set it, like that. And don't crimp this cable, otherwise the cable will get bound up and won't work. This end goes in the door handle, so you'll see how it works here. So that one's going to work just fine. So I haven't put the cable metal piece on this one yet. And remember, this one's going to take a round one. This is what slides into here and holds that in place, and that keeps it from sliding back out inside the door. But in order to put these on, these cables with the old molded plastic that breaks off and falls inside the door, see, there's all the pieces down there. So you are going to take and sand off some of these ridges just enough so that it holds the piece of metal tight. They have a slit in them, which you can slide onto that cable, and then you got to push it up onto those grooves. But you want to take most of those grooves off. You can do it with sandpaper. So I sanded that down and then I slid it on there. Now you got to slide it through the hole in the door. Then you've got to open this handle up and get it inside of there. So you're going to get it in that groove and then slide it in. This bottom one, for whatever reason, was missing. So watch this. Oh, that's a beautiful thing. Now we just got to put the lower one back on and slide it through. And you can order these things online for 15 or 16 bucks. I'll show you the link for that here in a second. The new ones come with an extra ear. So you need to grind the ear off a little bit. Just take the ear off and then it'll slide in the rail that you got to slide it into. And it'll be all happy. And of course the new ones are just slightly thicker than the old ones. So you have to grind that down just a little bit to get it to work. And on this van, these bolts that hold in the cargo door latches are T27. So there are the two bolts that hold on the bottom latch. So have your plastic retainers in place, put your cable through and then slide them to the left. And then this, if it weren't broken, would go right into there to hold that cable. So it's time for a zippy tie. So I drilled a second hole. Oh, the moment of truth. Woohoo! Gotta love it. Hey, it worked twice. It'll probably work forever now. Shut this door. Shut this door. Open this door. And open this door. Oh, that's a beautiful thing. Now I'm gonna take all the seats out and do the back door.